funny and a little bit dark, sometimes sweary performances that sound a little like this.
Your love for me is not debatable. Your sexual appetite's insatiable. You never ever make me waitable. Delectable, inflatable you.
Fantastic. Well, look, joining me in the studio is the man himself, Tim Minchin. G'day, Tim.
Hi, John. How are you?
Look, I'm a bit nervous,
How's
actually.
it going on the radio? Your producer just came out and go, it's all fine. Bit of a new guy today. Has no idea what he's doing. No, she didn't say that. She said he's doing very well.
Yeah.
And you do seem to be doing very well.
Oh, you look, flattery will get you
look
everywhere.
a bit tense in the hands with your fading, but your voice sounds incredibly soothing, so the listener wouldn't know how nervous you are if I hadn't have told them.
The sound of my voice.
Your voice sounds fine. It's just you look like the faders might sort of blow something up.
Well, might I say, there's a lot. There's like 20.
All these buttons.
I know.
It's all this technology. I didn't know that radio people had to have skills.
I just thought it was like talking and stuff.
Well, I'll try and make it as much like talking and stuff as possible. I'll try not to give you any challenges.
Well, come on. Do you still get nervous?
Yeah. I mean, I get nervous. It depends what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm addicted to variety. My whole sort of career ambition is about going, I'm going to do a bit of this and that. And, of course, with that comes, I've bitten off more than I can chew. So I have a bit of nerves. And because I don't perform live much anymore, before, I did a show in New York a couple of weeks ago in front of 2,500 people, and I hadn't done a gig for 6 months. And that gets the adrenaline pumping, but I guess it is familiar territory for me.
But does that where sort of stagecraft, if you like, come into it, that you're a professional, you do this, so you have techniques and tricks that sort of carry you through?
I think so. If by techniques and tricks you mean a glass of red wine and a Red Bull, bit of up, bit of down. You definitely, obviously, especially with comedy, the whole art is being fearless. Whether or not you feel fearless, you have to seem fearless, and in seeming fearless, it makes you feel fearless. It's a bit circular, you can kind of convince yourself of your own fearlessness by just acting that way. But the thing with my stuff is because I play piano and sing, and there's a lot of, bit like you with your buttons, there's prestidigitation involved. You do lose your chops. It's not like riding a bike. It's more like fitness. It's more like running, and so if I've got a show and I haven't done one for ages, I'm at home practicing, just trying to get my strength back and my timing back and the ability to do the lyrics as fast as I do them back. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's not a very enjoyable experience. You're that nervous, but I just make myself do it so that I don't lose my chops completely.
So as you become more successful, and it really, what did Roald Dahl say? When a friend succeeds, a little piece of me dies.
I love that quote.
As you're becoming more successful, does it get easier?
Depends what you mean by it. I mean, I spent the whole summer, and I'm a hugely lucky man, but I'm living in LA directing and writing an animated feature film for DreamWorks. It's a big responsibility and huge. 180 people working on the movie underneath me, and then executives with their opinions above me.
Does it have a title?
It's called Larrikins at the moment. It's a full-blown Aussie musical made with proper Hollywood money, so we'll see how we go with that. And, Hugh Jackman and Naomi Watts and Ben Mendelsohn and Jackie Weaver, and they're all in it. It's a proper lark. But I also opened a new musical in London this summer. When I say my co-creatives who made Matilda.
That was Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. So I was doing 2 weeks London, 2 weeks LA. I've got 2 children and a marriage that is successful, but only because my wife is endlessly patient and doesn't get upset by my absence. And so what gets harder is keeping your trying to not swear, keeping your stuff together, is keeping it together. So I love everything I do, but you have to have a pretty sanguine kind of temperament, just like you with your faders, to juggle all your bits and pieces and press the right buttons at the right time.
Well, so here you are, you're in Brisbane, and you're having a performance of Matilda. Now, research here, this was first performance, I think, December 9, 2010.
Yeah, that's it. It's been going for a while in Stratford-upon-Avon in England.
And it's got widespread critical acclaim, box office popularity. You've had it on Broadway, West End, and first time in Brisbane.
Yeah, it's finally got here.
So are you going to watch it tonight?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, and so I'm on a little press tour now. So I brought my daughter because I booked this trip, and I've missed too many of my kids' birthdays to admit to. And Violet said, "Dad, it's my 10th birthday. You're going to be away." And
double digits.
Yeah, double digits. Big thing for a girl.
Yes.
And so I said, "Why don't you come with me?" So, because for years I've been saying, one day when you're old enough, you can do a trip with Daddy. And so Violet and I have done 5 flights in 8 days or whatever, and doing a bit of press and stuff, but tonight's the night we're here for. We'll frock up and do the red carpet, and I've done a lot of opening nights for Matilda. As you say, it's still running on Broadway, still running on the West End. There's a version in Toronto, so this is one of 4 versions in the world, and of course the Broadway thinks it's the centre of the world, like everything in New York, and the West End is full of this grand history. But I can tell you without a word of a lie, the production here is absolutely at that or beyond that level. The actors are amazing. It's a really, so I'm incredibly proud of this production. And the wonderful thing about Brisbane, I've been here many times over the years. I've done everything from play piano with Todd McKenney and the Cremorne, to playing covers in the Elephant Wheelbarrow in the Mall, to Queensland Symphony Orchestra. I love coming back here. I've seen so many plays here. I was at the theatre last night watching Tartuffe. Brisbane is a same sort of size as Perth, my hometown, but it's just it gets the arts, it's incredibly supportive of the arts. So Matilda's already sold up the wazoo. So I love it. It's brilliant. Brisbane rocks.
So how did you come about then being involved in making a musical out of Roald Dahl?
Well, I was, my comedy career was going pretty well. It was back in the end of 2008. It was all pretty new to me, and I was like, I'd been playing in, as I say, cover bands and playing piano for people for years, and thinking, I hope there's further for me to go. And things were really, I was living in London and touring the UK, and people were coming to my shows, and I got them. My agent said, "Oh, the Royal Shakespeare Company want a meeting with you." And I thought, they're going to ask me to play Hamlet. This is brilliant. But they didn't. They said, "Have you ever thought of writing a musical?" And I went, "Oh, that's what I've done my whole life." Because I was known as a comedian. But actually, I wrote my first songs for theatre when I was 17, and I guess I've written 10 other shows or whatever. None of which will ever see the light of day again, but we all have our apprenticeships. You, for example, are doing yours today. But
don't take it personally.
Yeah, you give me this guy, like I'm world famous. But yeah, and so it was. Briefly, I thought, I've left the theatre writing gig in the past. I'm going to be a rock star, and then I thought, don't be an idiot, Minchin. It's Roald Dahl, and it's the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I had. I had the idea of writing Matilda the musical myself 10 years earlier in a bizarre sort of story. And so it felt right. And even though I was overawed by Matthew Hawkes, the director, he's Tony Award winning, blah, blah, and I was overawed by the Royal Shakespeare Company, I was not overawed by the idea of Dahl, because Dahl's just in my blood. I mean, we just were fed on virtually a diet of a literary diet of almost exclusively Dahl. I was obsessed as a kid, so it felt like a good idea, and it's worked out better than you could possibly have hoped, really.
I mean, your material can be a little dark, and what's interesting about Roald Dahl is actually his material is actually dark too.
Yeah.
For kids, in that some writers are very saccharine, aren't they, when it comes to kids stuff, but his isn't.
Yeah, he doesn't condescend to his audience. He knows kids can handle a bit of meanness and a bit of the truth of the cruelty of the world. I mean, I think Dahl carried the truth of the bleakness of the world very close, because he had terrible experiences. He lost a child, and he fought in a war, and I think he had a lot of pain physically because of his plane crash, and mentally because of his losses. And that pain snuck into his books, and yet somehow his balance, his ability to explore the dark and then let it just float away in a cloud of, marvellous medicine or ridiculous words or stupid rhymes, I feel, obviously Dahl's a genius and I'm an idiot, but I felt when the job came up a simpatico with that, and also with his themes, which Dahl was always loathed anti-intellectualism. He loved books, and he thought learning was the most important thing, and Matilda absolutely is the model of knowledge being the way you should emancipate yourself against the bullies, and it's something that I think the world needs to remember, particularly now that actually being thick and loud is not the way, even if it seems to be working at the moment.
And look, I must say, I did like these lines from your song Naughty. We're told we have to do what we're told, but surely sometimes you have to be a little bit naughty.
Yeah, well, Matilda knows. You've got to be respectful, but it's all about making moral choices, and in my career I try to get that balance right. I have been known to be a little mean in my comedy, but I think sometimes if you notice, Matilda says, if you see something that's not right, you've got to put it right. And not that I'm claiming any moral high ground, but I don't really believe in authority that is received. I believe in authority that is earned through good ethical behaviour. And so, that's a whole conversation for when we have a bit longer.
Well, look, you have other commitments, so we really do appreciate you coming in today.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
How long have you got to survive?
Well, I've got 1 hour and 41
mate, you're
minutes,
not
but who's
gonna make
counting?
You said critical success earlier.
Oh, thanks for not
so
running
I just
it
want
in.
to make that clear.
Appreciate it. Now, look, do you have a favourite Christmas song?
I love Christmas. I don't know, really. Yeah, I do. I probably, for the tune, I like "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." I love the tune of that. But I'm a very non-religious person, so I wrote my own a little while ago.
Yep.
And,
Wine in the Sun.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but it's a weird thing, that song. It's 10 years old now, and every Christmas it just creeps outwards in Australia specifically. People go, and discover it, and it's lovely.
Well, thank you very much, Tim Minchin. Really appreciate you coming. Hope the Matilda opening night tonight goes really well. Hope Violet enjoys herself
She'll be
too.
fine. Oh, here's a naughty little plug. That White Wine in the Sun song, every year I give all the proceeds of the sales to the National Autistic Society in Britain, weirdly, because that's where I was when I wrote it. So, there you go. Download my Christmas song, give money to autism. Is that all right on the ABC?
Yeah, that's fine. Good on you, Tim. Thanks very much.
You're doing great, mate.
Thank you.